What's going on, everyone? I am Double D, and welcome to my take on the Richmond finish. Obviously, if you all saw the finish at the end of the Cookout 400 at Richmond, it set the NASCAR internet by storm. But before we talk about the finish, let's talk about the entire race in general. Denny Hamlin started on pole, and he led the first few laps of the race. And then Christopher Bell seemed like he had the dominant car early. He won stage 1, and he led most of stage 2. Daniel Suarez, who obviously didn't have the fastest car and wasn't fast in qualifying at all, decided to take a gamble early in the race during stage 2 and put on option tires. He zoomed like Lightning McQueen through the field and took first place, and he even gapped the entire field by 2 seconds. It was a gamble that paid off and gave him track position, and whenever he pitted for the primary tires, and he maintained the lead, and he won stage 2 and got him some stage points. So in that case, the two sets of tires, which were the primary and the option tires, they made the race really interesting because they were different types of compound tires that either you've lasted longer on one tire, or you went shorter on the other tire and quicker. But that mixed the entire race up and made it where you'd still be interesting to watch even with a dominant leader like Christopher Bell. But with the strategy Daniel Suarez went on earlier, that made him short one option tire compound. Therefore, the other drivers went on option tire compounds, and it looked like this was going to be Christopher Bell's race. But then he got a speeding penalty in stage 3 that cost him the race. Which now the top 3 contenders for the win for Richmond were Denny Hamlin, Joey Logano, and unlikely Austin Dillon. It wasn't a surprise the entire weekend Austin Dillon was fast. During practice, he actually was in the top 10 and ran top 10 most of the race. And surprisingly, he was working his way to the front. He passed Joey Logano cleanly, and he was about to pass Denny Hamlin cleanly, and he did with around, I think, like 30 or 20 laps to go. All the laps winded down, and it looked like Austin Dillon was going to take the win and win it clean. Then all of a sudden, Ricky Stenhouse turns Ryan Preece with 2 laps to go to bring out the caution. Now, I don't really know what battle that Stenhouse and Preece were having the 10 laps to go that leaded up to that contact, but it doesn't make sense to wreck somebody. You're battling in like past 20th place to cause a wreck to bring out the caution with 2 laps to go. That messes the entire race up and changes everything. So because of that caution, which now seems like the trend of all these long-run green flag races where the caution comes out late in the race, we have pit stops. Austin Dillon pit crew, instead of RCR being known for messing up the entire year on pit lane, they didn't mess up with Austin Dillon. And Austin Dillon made it out of pit lane first, with Logano second and Denny Hamlin third. And then there was the restart that would decide it all. And by my point of view, I thought Logano jumped the start, but by watching the replay, Austin Dillon had a bad restart and Joey Logano had a better restart. Therefore, Joey Logano took the lead with 2 laps to go. But of course, it's Richmond, it's a short track, it's never over on the first lap before the white flag. And therefore, it was the final lap, and it was going to come down to the last corner. Austin Dillon, which it was 32nd in points, far back from the championship lead, was trying to get in to make his way in to the chase. So in this scenario, it was a must win, because he cannot point his way into the chase because he is too far back. So therefore, he did whatever he needed to do to win the race. And by doing that, 3 car lengths behind Joey Logano, he drives it in there to the final corner, bumps Joey Logano out of the way, Joey Logano spins, and then Denny Hamlin tried to take advantage of the Austin Dillon and Joey Logano contact. Instead, Austin Dillon hooks Denny Hamlin into the wall, and Austin Dillon wins the race. If you go watch my live reaction back whenever the finish happened, you would see that I was going bonkers whenever the race ended. I just could not believe what I saw, and my two least favorite drivers got taken out, which I was excited about that. And with being excited about it, here's my take. Austin Dillon technically did nothing wrong. Yes, Austin Dillon did not do anything wrong. If you watched past NASCAR races, whenever Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin are battling for the win, they always or usually drive dirty, get their way to the front. It's rare for them to try to pass another driver clean. Like, for example, when Joey Logano was trying to qualify himself into the chase to the round of 8 in 2015 when he spun out Matt Kenseth at Kansas. And then Matt Kenseth paid him back. And then Denny Hamlin, on numerous occasions, of how he driven Larson into the wall and Chastain into the wall. But I mean, Denny Hamlin and Chastain had their own rivalry and beef, so it was understandable that he did that. But it's just the fact that Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin act like hypocrites whenever they get crashed out by somebody else and they lose the race. And obviously, I dislike Denny Hamlin because I'm a Chase Elliott fan because of back what they had happen in 2017 at Martinsville. Denny Hamlin was also 3 car lengths back almost at Martinsville whenever he turned around Chase Elliott and cost his chances at winning the championship. And I dislike Logano too because he's raced so many other drivers already. Another example, I also mentioned Matt Kenseth earlier, but he also drove William Byron into the wall at Darlington. I think that was in 22. I think that was his championship season. He did that in 22. And then the incident with Chase Elliott at Bristol in 2020, he was just being a baby about the Chase Elliott beef there. So that's another reason why those two are my least favorite, Logano being the least favorite of all of them. So my point for this entire situation is that Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin and their fans, they turn a blind eye whenever their driver wrecks someone, but whenever they're on the receiving end of it, they can't dish it, and they act like they're the most innocent drivers on earth. I do agree that it's wrong to have wrecks on purpose at the end of NASCAR races, but there can't be double standards whenever it comes to these races. I don't think Austin Dillon should get a fine or penalized for how he won the race, because I mean, he was at a short track whenever he did it. It wasn't like any of the drivers' safety was in jeopardy. Kind of like everybody's safety when Joey Logano was coming on pit road after the finish. As you all know, NASCAR is a racing sport. And obviously, at the short tracks, there's always going to be contact here and there and tempers flying around. But I do think NASCAR needs to make a rule that at tracks like Talladega, Daytona, or high-speed tracks where the driver's safety is in jeopardy, they do need to put a penalty where if someone wrecks somebody on purpose, no matter what the reason's for, if it's for the win or if it's that they're mad at that driver, do not do it at that type of track, because that puts not just them two safety in jeopardy, but all the other drivers that are racing on the field. And I know a lot of fans aren't happy about the finish and about how it was a dirty finish, but I mean, that's what's going to happen in racing. And honestly, Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin had that coming for them the entire time. And that's just how racing is. And that's my take for how Richmond ended. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen in the next few weeks of what Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin respond to how Austin Dillon took both of them out. And it's interesting to see how everybody else is going to race each other after that race. Hopefully everybody's all respectful. But I mean, like I said, that's just what happens in our sport. So thank you all for watching. I will be live streaming the Michigan race this Sunday, and I'll see you all later.